Sisters, daughters, queens, hear me. In a world trying to tell you who you are, where you belong, and what you can't do, a strong woman rises not by chance, care enough, but by choice. There are three things she must to build her life like a fortress: her mind, her mouth, and her money. Control is not about being cold. And care enough, it's not about being rigid. It's about being intentional. It's about having dominion over your life, over your future, over your assignment. Strong women don't allow thoughts of fear, self-doubt, or unworthiness to live rent-free. Care enough. They kick out every lie that says you're not enough, you've missed your moment, or you're too much. No, she renews her mind daily. She fills it with wisdom, truth, and strategy, because a cluttered mind leads to a chaotic life. And she refuses to live in confusion when she was born for clarity. What you say reveals what you believe. Enough. So a strong woman guards her words like a queen guards her crown. She doesn't speak just to be heard. She speaks to bring healing, to speak truth, and care enough to build legacy. She doesn't curse her future with careless confessions. She doesn't let anger leak out in passive, aggressive jabs. As she learns when to speak and when to stay silent, and when she opens her mouth, heaven listens. She doesn't wait for someone else to come and rescue her financially. She learns, she invests, she sows into her purpose. She's building generational wealth and not just personal comfort. She does not live in regret. She uses her pain as fuel, her failures as lessons. She doesn't let people chain her to who she used to be. She lets God rewrite stories. She doesn't apologize for her brilliance, her standards, care enough, or her boundaries. She doesn't water herself down to fit into shallow spaces. She walks, she's anointed, talks like she's assigned, and lives like she's sent. Before a woman can command a room, before she can influence nations, care enough, before she can break generational curses, she must first conquer her own mind. The war is not won in public stages, but in private thoughts. Enough. Mental discipline is not an option. It is the foundation upon which a strong woman builds her life. The mind is both a battleground and a throne. Every idea, every fear, every possibility, good or bad, passes through it. Care enough. A woman who does not take control of her thoughts will find herself controlled by everything around her, other people's opinions, cultural expectations, past pain, fleeting emotions, and even her own inner critic. But a strong woman rises each day with intention. She doesn't let her thoughts wander aimlessly. And care enough, she harnesses them, she filters them, she decides what stays and what goes. Because she understands this truth. And care enough. You can't lead a strong life with a weak mind. Mental discipline is the ability to stay focused, steady, and faithful to your purpose despite distractions, discouragements, and delays. It's the unseen strength behind every visible success, while others are running around reacting to everything. The disciplined woman is responding with strategy. She is not tossed by the winds of mood swings or momentary validation. She is anchored in clarity. She has trained herself not to dwell in fear, even when fear knocks at the door. She doesn't let anxiety spiral into panic. Care enough. She doesn't entertain thoughts that lead her to sabotage her own destiny. She replaces chaos with calm, overthinking with observation, and self-pity with purpose. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every voice deserves your energy. Enough. A strong woman has learned how to be selective with her mental space. She knows that the thoughts she repeats become the reality she creates. The woman with mental discipline guards her inner life like a fortress. She doesn't let worry build a home. She doesn't let bitterness find a seat at the table. She doesn't let the enemy write chapters of her story. The world is noisy. Opinions are loud. Notifications never stop. But mental discipline requires that you become comfortable with stillness, that you learn the art of focus. Not just on doing and care enough, but on being. She's not afraid to pause. She knows that stillness is not laziness, it's strategy. In silence, she gets her vision back. In stillness, she gathers her strength. In solitude, she sharpens her sword. She doesn't just affirm herself when she feels good. She speaks truth even when everything looks bad. She trains her mind with repetition, declaring who she is, what she believes, and where she's going. Care enough until her thoughts obey her spirit. She rewrites the narrative. She doesn't let negative memories run on loop like a broken record. She inserts new language, care enough, new vision and new direction. She replaces the life-giving truth. She may still feel afraid, but she doesn't let fear write her story. She may still get tired, but she doesn't let fatigue make her quit. She may still be triggered, but she responds with wisdom. A strong woman doesn't speak to impress. She speaks to impact. She understands that her voice is not just a sound. It's a force. And care enough. Her words can build or break, heal or hurt, uplift or unravel. That's why she refuses to speak carelessly. And care enough. She doesn't throw her words around like stones in the wind. She speaks with purpose, authority, and wisdom. Your speech reveals what's hidden in your spirit. Care enough. What comes out of your mouth didn't start at your lips. It started in your heart, traveled through your mind, and manifested in your language. That's why the woman who controls her mouth has first learned to guard her heart and renew her mind. There's a difference between talking and speaking life. Talking is noise, life. Speaking is impact. A strong woman doesn't use her voice to spread fear, gossip, or drama. She knows how easy it is to get caught up in idle conversations that add no value and drain the atmosphere of grace. Instead, she speaks intentionally. She knows how to encourage us, but she also knows how to speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. She's not just sweet. She's strong. Her enough. Her voice is not passive. It's powerful. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every emotion needs to be voiced in the moment. A strong woman doesn't speak out of impulse. She speaks out of insight. She's not quick to respond when provoked. She doesn't let her emotions hijack her communication. Instead, she gives herself space to process before she speaks. Because she understands, care enough, your words can't be taken back. Once they're released, they build something. Either a bridge or a wall, healing or hurt. She doesn't weaponize her words. She wields them with precision. Her silence is not weakness. Sometimes her silence is more powerful than her words. She knows when to speak, and just as importantly, she knows when not to. A powerful woman does not hide behind pleasantries. She speaks the truth, but truth in her mouth is not laced with condemnation. It's wrapped in grace. Her words don't bruise. They bless. Even when she challenges someone, care enough, they walk away better, not bitter. That's because her voice is rooted in integrity. She speaks from a healed place, not a hurting place. Care enough. There is a moment in every strong woman's journey when she realizes she no longer needs to be liked to feel valued. She stops softening her voice just to make others comfortable. She stops shrinking her vocabulary to fit into shallow rooms. She stops apologizing for being bold, clear enough, and passionate. She doesn't speak to fit in. She speaks to stand out. And if her truth unsettles someone, she doesn't shrink back. She knows a silence in the face of injustice, disrespect, or dishonor is a betrayal of her identity. A woman of power speaks where she's going even when it doesn't look like it yet. She declares her destiny out loud. She speaks with prophetic boldness, not because she sees it all, but because she believes it's already in motion. She doesn't let her surroundings mute her spirit. She doesn't let what happens silence her purpose. She speaks by faith, not by sight. Her words are seeds, and she sows daily her future with what she says out loud. A woman with powerful speech understands that self-talk is spiritual warfare. She is careful not just with what she says to others, and care enough, but with what she says to herself. She catches lies before they plant roots. She doesn't let her mouth sabotage her mission. She builds herself up with affirmations of truth. She prays aloud, declares out loud. She affirms her identity until it sticks. Care enough. The strong woman doesn't just talk about herself. She uses her voice to elevate others. She compliments without envy. She cheers without competing. And care enough. She corrects without crushing. She blesses without bitterness. She knows how to uplift the room. She sees the gold in others and isn't afraid to say it out loud. Her voice is a mirror showing others who they really are. Not who their past says, not what society labeled them, but the truth, their potential. And this woman doesn't just speak big dreams. She walks them out in faith. Her words carry weight because her life backs them up. Her children believe her because they see her live what she says. Her team trusts her because she embodies her message. Her voice is not just a sound. It's a weapon. It's a melody. It's a message. It's a movement. Care enough. And once she learns to control it, there's no room she can't influence, no heart she can't reach, no destiny she can't activate. A strong woman doesn't wait for wealth to find her. She prepares for it. She understands that money is not the root of all evil. The love of it is, and care enough. And because she doesn't serve money, she controls it. She's not afraid to talk about money. She's not embarrassed to learn about it. Care enough. She doesn't pretend it doesn't matter just to sound humble. Because she knows the truth. How you manage money determines how long it lasts and how far it goes. Money in her hands is not just a tool, it's a test. It reveals discipline, exposes mindset, and creates movement. That's why the strong woman doesn't just chase the bag. She manages it, multiplies it, and makes it mean something. Before she could shift her wallet, she had to shift her thinking, because wealth begins in the mind before it shows up in the bank. A poverty mindset will bankrupt potential no matter how much money you make. So the strong woman decided to rewire how she saw money. She stopped calling herself bad with money. She stopped saying, I'm broke. She stopped living in survival mode when God has called her to thrive. Enough of. She stopped equating wealth with wickedness and started understanding that abundance with integrity is kingdom stewardship. She realized that money is a mirror. It reflects how you feel about yourself. She got real about her habits, her history, and her healing. Care enough. She decided that generational curses of lack, overspending, and financial dysfunction stop with her. Many run from financial truth because it's uncomfortable. But the strong woman doesn't hide from her bank statements, her credit score, or her past mistakes. She confronts them. She tracks her income. She sets budgets. She writes goals. She understands where her money goes. Because if you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear into places you didn't intend. She got educated. She asked questions. She refused to be ashamed of what she didn't know. She no longer lets pride keep her stuck because she understands ignorance is expensive, but wisdom is profitable. Care enough. The strong woman knows that appearance is not the same as abundance. She doesn't spend to impress. She spends to invest. She's not trying to look rich while living paycheck to paycheck. She's not putting designer labels over destiny. She doesn't need everything now because she knows the value of waiting, working, and watching her money grow. She is not enslaved to consumerism. She is free because she is focused. She's not just making money for herself. She's building for those coming behind her. Her children, her nieces, and care enough, her community, her legacy. She is the first in her family to break certain patterns, the first to own land, the first to learn investments, the first to save without guilt. She's not only thinking about bags, she's thinking about blueprints, trust, life insurance, inheritance, real estate, ownership. She is setting up systems and structures so her children don't just in jewelry and old stories. They inherit stability, land, assets, care, and wisdom. She's not waiting to be rescued. She's becoming the rescuer. She's breaking the idea that women can't handle wealth. And she's proving that a woman who walks in purpose can walk in prosperity without losing herself. Money in her hands is mission-fueled. She gives, not out of obligation, but from overflow. She supports causes that matter. She blesses others with intention. She invests in herself and her growth and care enough in her business and in her healing. If she's in debt, she's not denial. She doesn't let shame or secrecy keep her in bondage. She faces it. She builds a plan. She doesn't beat herself up. She builds herself up. She doesn't run from her financial past. She learns from it, grows through it, and uses it as fuel. And she doesn't tie her worth to her wealth and care enough. Her identity is not in her balance, but she knows that money in the right hands multiplies miracles. And she plans to make miracles happen. Most of all, the strong woman honors the source of her provision. She knows that every client, every paycheck, every opportunity, every stream is a channel, not the source. She doesn't worship the gift. She honors the giver. She trusts divine time in her financial journey. She prays over her finances. She listens for strategy and care enough. She tits in faith. She gives in gratitude. She multiplies with intention. She doesn't just spend. She stewards. She doesn't just hustle. She heals enough. She doesn't just consume. She creates. Every strong woman has a past, but not every woman lets it define her. She carries memories, battle scars, and lessons learned in silence. But what separates the broken from the rising is not perfection. It's the decision to heal. Healing is not forgetting and care enough. It's not pretending the pain didn't happen. It's not ignoring the betrayal, the abandonment, the mistakes, or the loss. Care enough. Healing is the courage to face the truth without letting it poison your future. The strong woman doesn't deny her pain. She confronts it. She sits with the parts of herself she once tried to bury. She stops running from the shadow of her story and finally looks it in the eye. Not with shame, but with sacred strength. There was a time when the pain was her identity. She wore the labels they gave her. Rejected, forgotten, not enough. She lived enough in the echoes of what happened to her and let them shape her self-worth. She allowed disappointment to define her value. Care enough. Trauma spoke louder than truth. She woke up one day and realized she was still here, still breathing, still standing, still worthy of becoming enough. And in that moment, she made a decision to stop being a victim of what she survived. The strong woman no longer wears her wounds like a name tag. She's not divorced one, the broken one, the failure, or the girl who was never chosen. She is redeemed, restored, and renamed. Care enough. Healing required her to get honest, not just about what happened, but about how long she'd let it replay in her mind. She realized that every time she hit replay on that betrayal, that mistake, that abandonment, she was re-wounding herself. The event was over. Care enough, but the etch-up kept haunting her. She had to learn that the mind is a powerful theater. And if she didn't shut the scene down, care enough, she'd never get to the next act of her story. Many women try to move on without mourning. They dress up their pain, paint over it with business. Care enough, or numb it with distractions. But healing isn't about getting over it. It's about going through it. The strong woman learned to grieve. Not just what happened, but what didn't. The childhood she deserved, the love she never received, the protection that wasn't there, the yes that turned into a no. She cried the tears she once suppressed. She gave herself the compassion she freely gave to others. She stopped rushing the process and let herself feel. Because she knew what you don't feel, you don't heal. She didn't forgive to let them escape justice. She forgave so she could be free from the bitterness, free from the anger, free from the obsession with the why and the what if. Forgiveness didn't erase the pain, but it did break the chain. She doesn't hide her story anymore. She shares it, not from a place of pity, from a place of power, because somebody else is where she once was. Somebody else is crying the tears she cried. And if her scars can speak, they'll let another woman know. Care enough. You're not alone, and you can make it too. She doesn't exploit her pain for attention, but she doesn't waste it either. And care enough. She's a living testimony that broken doesn't mean you're beyond repair. It means you're ready for redemption. Healing also meant facing the ways her unhealed pain was showing up in how she loved others. She realized that not everyone was her enemy, but her trauma tell the difference. So she did the hard work of unlearning. She stopped pushing good people away. She stopped expecting rejection and began embracing healthy love. She became more emotionally available, more honest, more open. Not perfect, but present. She doesn't have to announce it with noise or decorate it with ego. It's in her presence, her posture, her decisions. You feel it when she walks into a room. You hear it when she speaks. You see it in how she moves. She's not looking for approval. She's walking in authority. A strong woman has reached a place where her worth is no longer negotiable. She no longer waits for permission to feel seen. She enough doesn't question whether she's enough. She enough. She knows she is. Not because of applause, status, likes, care enough, or validation, but because she has finally accepted who she was always created to be. For too long, she let her identity be shaped by other people's opinions. She let the applause inflate her and the criticism deflate her. She became a mirror, reflecting what others projected onto her, instead of being a window into her divine design. But then something changed. She stopped searching for who she was in places that didn't build her. Care enough. She stopped needing to be liked by everyone to feel lovable. She stopped giving the power to define her value. She's not better than anyone else enough, but she refuses to be less than who she was created to be. Her confidence isn't cocky. It's clarity. She knows her calling. She knows her contribution. She knows what she brings to the table. And she'll sit at that table whether you acknowledge it or not. Care enough. There was a time she made herself smaller just to be accepted. She softened her voice, lowered her standards, downplayed her dreams. She was afraid of being too much, so she became less. She stayed quiet so others could feel loud. She made herself a background character in her own life. And enough, the strong woman now knows shrinking doesn't serve anyone. Hiding her brilliance doesn't make the room brighter. Watering herself down doesn't make her easier to digest. It just makes her disappear. Confidence in worth shows up in decisions. It shows up in the boundaries she sets, the relationship she chooses, the way she allows herself to be treated. She no longer settles. She's not afraid to walk away. If peace costs her company, she'll choose peace. If purpose costs her a position, she'll still choose purpose. The strong woman doesn't need constant recognition to stay motivated. She has learned how to clap for herself. She doesn't need a crowd to tell her she's doing great. Her inner voice has become the loudest applause. She affirms herself. She motivates herself. And care enough. She speaks over herself with words of life. She's not trying to be everyone's favorite. She's not trying to be easy to label, predictable to handle enough, or convenient to manage. She's complex. She's layered. She's unique. And she no longer apologizes for being unmistakably herself. A woman who knows her worth doesn't need to compare herself to anyone else. She's not threatened by other women. She's inspired by them enough. She doesn't compete for crumbs because she knows there's enough at the table for everyone. She doesn't confuse worth with flawlessness. Care enough. She knows she's still growing, still healing, still learning. That doesn't make her less valuable. It makes her real enough. A confident woman is not confident because of what she owns, who she knows, or what the world says about her. She's confident because she knows the one who created her, and she believes every word he spoke over her. Let me know if you'd like this section turned into a video script, spoken word, or visual carousel for social media. Or I can move on to the next section, a vision over emotion. Just say the word. Emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. They are data. They tell us where we are, but they don't always tell us the truth about where we're going. A strong woman knows how to feel deeply without losing direction. She doesn't ignore her emotions. She investigates them. Is this feeling leading me or misleading me? Is this fear protecting me or paralyzing me? Is this disappointment shaping my mindset or just clouding my clarity? She gives her heart a voice, but she lets her vision make the final decision. There's a version of her who almost quit because she was tired, frustrated, unseen, or overwhelmed. But she paused long enough to realize, now, if you don't make destiny decisions in emotional fog, she has learned to wait until her emotions settle before she speaks, commits, or responds. She knows how costly it is to act on impulse, to make permanent choices from passing pain. She has trained herself to pause before she pivots. Care enough. And when the emotions are loud, she leans into the stillness of her spirit. That's where her vision lies. That's where her clarity waits. That's where her power remains. The strong woman knows how easy it is to fall into old emotional cycles, chasing validation, avoiding discomfort, and care enough, or making decisions from insecurity. But she has grown too much to go back. She has built too much to lose it over another triggered moment. She recognizes the patterns. She knows when her anxiety is speaking instead of her assignment. She knows when her insecurity is dressing up as overthinking. She knows when her past is trying to convince her she's not ready. Every day there's an invitation to be distracted. There's drama to react to, gossip to join, offense to pick up. But the strong woman has made a decision her destiny is too expensive to buy into foolishness. A strong woman can feel of the pain of the moment and still keep her eyes on the future. She knows how to zoom out when life feels overwhelming. Care enough. She remembers who she is, where she's going, and why she started in the first place. She doesn't give up because it got hard. She recalibrates, recenters, care enough, and returns to the bigger picture. Her tears don't mean she's lost. Her pause doesn't mean she's quitting. Her emotion doesn't mean she's broken. It just means she's human. But her vision, that's divine. So even when her emotions scream, run, quit, and hide. Her spirit whispers, stay focused. And she listens because she knows that feelings fade, but faith builds, vision sustains. Purpose delivers. She takes time to regulate her thoughts. She lets herself breathe, process, and reflect. And then when she speaks, when she moves, it's intentional. It's rare enough. It's grounded. It's powerful. She has become a woman whose presence is calming, not chaotic, whose mind is clear even when the world is spinning. She is trusted not just for her power, but for her peace. Emotionally immature environments are draining. Care enough. That's why the strong woman surrounds herself with vision carriers, people who don't just feed her feelings. They feed her focus. She's done with trauma bonding. She's done with gossip circles and pity parties. Care enough. She's not looking for someone to